Prosperity Recipes to get through 2020, and it has been a year. It has definitely been a year. And we say thank you, dear Lord, for letting us come together. This is session 10. And our session 10 is all about cooking up the prosperity. We've been talking about it now for 10 weeks. It's time to cook it up. And we say, abundant blessings are showering me now. I shimmer with excitement. I am prosperous. Just the thought of that, just the vibration of abundant blessings, saying it, hearing it, abundant blessings are showering me now. I shimmer with excitement. I am prosperous. Just saying that has a high vibration to attract the prosperity you want. We know that abundance is everything around us. We have enough food, thank you, God. We have enough clothes, thank you, God. We have enough sunshine, thank you, God. There's enough of everything. We have so much fruit in Phoenix, Arizona, that we could probably feed the entire world. And yet there are people that are going hungry. And so it is not an abundance problem. It never is abundance. It's always about prosperity, which is attracting abundance to you. So abundance is all around you. That's why we say abundant blessings are showering me now. It's all around you. You shimmer with excitement because you have to feel that prosperity. Then I am prosperous is just the way that you claim what you want. So our prosperity recipe came right from the Women's Millionaire Club, the Amazon bestseller that I wrote. Know what you want, believe you can have it, take action, give thanks and praise. When I say know what you want, I put my hands on my head to make myself anchor that in. Believe you can have it. I put my hands on my heart, knowing that I can anchor that in. Take action. I kind of usually stand up and shake a tail feather, and then give thanks and praise, because when you give thanks and praise before it arrives on the physical plane, you have already claimed and accepted it. So time for the review. Like we say all the time, what we love about this class is when we come together, we manifest quicker. Just having 11, 12 people that are kind enough and gentle enough to not only claim what they want, but claim what you want. Because sometimes we tend to not be as secure with ourselves, but yet other people see this in us like crazy. And so they are sending us intentions of positive thinking. And those 12 people that are coming at us, it feels so wonderful. So it helps you manifest quicker. When we talk about the body, there's no way that I can't tell you that I get up in the morning and I sing this. I do. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Feel so good. Feel so swell. Every little cell is happy and well. And I laugh because people have laughed at me in the past and said, that is so crazy. But the reality is, if you don't know the difference, whether it works or it doesn't work, what's the problem? Go ahead and do it. And I do know that by programming yourself, by claiming your health on a daily basis, you claim it no matter what you've been told about health in the past. You've got to claim your good health. I claim my perfect eyesight. I claim it here and now. I see perfectly and with my brand new peepers, and I can't wait. Look at me. I had glasses on then, and now I've got these jeepers creepers. I've got new peepers. So, and this, I love this verse from Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Right this very minute, this is the time period, this 2020. If there's ever a Bible verse that we needed, the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Whether you were in Phoenix or you're in Colorado, in Chicago, wherever you are, we know that God is with you wherever you go, whatever you're doing. And so just reach out. We also know money is not my supply. No person, place, or condition is my supply. My awareness, understanding, and knowledge of the all-providing activity of divine mind within me is my supply. Let me repeat that. All providing activity of divine mind within me is my supply. My consciousness of this truth is unlimited. Therefore, my supply is unlimited. It is, you could not have in a million years guessed that I would want to have 20/20 vision again, and out of the clear blue sky make that comment, and then come down with cataracts, which got me new 20/20 vision. I mean, every time I think about it, it makes me laugh. And so I know all of that I'm having this challenge is going to be cleared up because I see clearly. And so, dear God, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for being there for me, never leaving me and always loving me. I think that is something that just makes me feel good. The way it's written, that heart with the cloud, it just is exceptional. So that's what we have to do. Dear God, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for being there for me, never leaving me and always loving me, even in the darkest times. Even when the times when we feel depressed or you feel lonely because you've been in the house with this COVID-19, you haven't been able to get out and do the traveling or do the things you want to do, be aware. Never leaving you and always there loving on you, as are the people of this prosperity class. We are here for each other. We are here for you. And so if you pray, don't worry. And if you worry, why pray? That always tickles me to no end because it's so true. And prayer energy follows attention. First, that's why I'm always telling you, you have to feel it. The combination combines feelings merged with our thoughts. Then prayer is acknowledging there are many possibilities. I don't know. My job is to know what I want. God's job is to know how. I don't know how these things. I couldn't have told you that I would get cataracts to get 20/20 vision. I mean, in a million years. Every time I think about it, it just makes me laugh because I couldn't have even envisioned that. And yet it happened. And so praying is the ability to take your feelings and acknowledge those possibilities and focus our feeling, directed energy into the opportunity that we decide to experience of all the possibilities available. Listen to me again. We decide to experience of all the possibilities available. And so I asked for 20/20 vision. Y'all didn't ask for that. Every single one of you have asked for something different. Health-wise, harmonious, possibility of relationship-wise, job-wise. Everybody has asked for something different. So we are 100% responsible for what we experience in life. 100% responsible. Not of a blaming nature, just responsible. And when I'm 100% responsible for everything in my life, oh my gosh, it's so wonderful because then I don't spend a whole lifetime blaming other people trying to change somebody else because I haven't done very good at changing other people. I know all of us have tried. You can't tell me that you haven't tried to change your partner, change your love partner, your business partner. We've all done it. And so it's so much easier when we take 100% responsibility because then I don't have to change anybody else. I just have to deal with myself. And if I want to change, I change. And if I don't, then I accept that. So open your heart to understand that everything is energy. And that's all there is to it, says Albert Einstein, you cutie. Match the frequency of the reality you want. I say this over and over again because I love this. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. There's no other way. It's not philosophy, it's physics. Match the frequency of the reality you want. What do you want? So, and vibrate at a higher frequency, your thoughts, your words, and your actions, because we know with God, all things are possible. Because Malachi says, I will open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that there shall not be room enough to receive it. We are all, absolutely all, given the spiritual attributes of prosperity, but not all people use it. And so it's up to us to open the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing. And we love to tithe because tithe where you feel spiritually fed. Where you feel spiritually fed is where you will tithe and you will thrive. And so we use in this class, and we will use for the next class too. Ho'oponopono is a way for us to make this come alive. Be aware of your thoughts and beliefs. And when you make space, when you clear those out, you create a vacuum. You clear out the ones that no longer work for you. You keep the ones that do work for you. And then the key to this is fill your own vacuum. If you just make a space, even in your house, that's why I've said take 15 minutes a day and just clean out a space. 15 minutes, just take that long. If you clean it out and you don't specifically decide what you want to put in there, all of a sudden junk goes back into that same place. So you have got to clear out the space, create that vacuum, and then fill it with what you want. So when you release like that, you release all of the things that have been holding you back. And here's what I say. If you are not getting what you want in life, start with the releasing. Look at what you have in your life that you need to let go of. Is there self-doubt? Is there frustration? Have you been holding on to resentment about a person, place, or thing, and you haven't been able to let that go? Have you been holding on to an anger, a frustration that is just a smoldering? Because to me, anger is one thing, but that smoldering resentment is worse than anything else, because anger we can deal with, but smoldering resentment is what really takes us down and take a lot of our relationships down. So take a look at that. So if you're not getting what you want in life, take a look first on that side, the release side, and then go over to the attraction side, because it is the law of attraction. Know what you want, believe you can have it, take action, give thanks, and praise. So if you know what you want and you're still not getting it, take a look at it. Is your beliefs in the way? Are your beliefs still, have you not cleared them out enough to make room for the new way you want to attract? Or have you not taken the action so you can receive? I love Dr. Willie and Sandra keep talking about this 30 days, and they are using that for their relationship, for dating, for all the things that they want. And so do the same. If you want 30 days of health, so make a decision to take 30 days of walking. Even if it is, I will walk to the mailbox for 30 days. If you're not big on walking, then make the decision what you will do. I will lift weights for 30 days. I will go to the gym. Well, we're not going to the gym right now, but so I will go swimming for 30 days. Whatever it is, mark it on your calendar, put it in, and decide that you're going to do it for 30 days. When I first got my iWatch, I loved this thing. And I thought, well, I'm just going to use it every day. Well, I went back to the store and I said, well, I haven't lost any weight. And he said to me, well, what are you doing? And I said, well, I've got it on my watch. And he said, well, are you doing anything with it? And I said, well, I'm looking at it each day. And he said, no, you've got to make a goal that you're going to do it for 30 days. You're going to go swimming. You're going to go climbing. You're going to lift weights. You're going to walk. And once I started making 30-day increments, because we've talked about this again and again and again, when we do too much, it becomes overwhelming and the brain will shut down. But if you do a 30-day increment and say, in 30 days, I will let go of 3 pounds. Just make a commitment that in 30 days, that's what you want to do, or you will walk, or you will jump, or you will skip rope, whatever you want to do. But I love that. So make a 30-day commitment to one thing at a time, and then give thanks and praise before it arrives on the physical plane. So, and Michelle Bundra gave us the one about releasing piles. That was so wonderful, because that makes the space, which creates the vacuum. But then we want to attract piles, and I think we might as well attract piles of gold. I love those gold bricks, and that will fill the vacuum. So you've got to make that decision what you're going to do. to release the piles and then fill the piles and make that decision, because money is just energy. Money vibrates the meaning you set upon it. And when I, in the past, had a negative meaning of money is evil, then it pushed away. It never came to me. And if it did come to me, it left me very quickly. Positive meaning attracts money to you. So I use money to say, this allows me to help as many people as I choose. It allows me to feel good about myself. It allows me to help other people. So use it. And then you've got to look at what you're drinking in daily. Oh my gosh, you've got to pay attention to what you're paying attention to on the TV, on the radio, and and the people that surround you. If you've got negativity in your life, trust me, you're spitting out words, thoughts, and actions that make you feel good. Right now, there are a lot of people that are very upset about a lot of things that are going on. You've got to be able to do that. But when you take action, it makes you feel better. If you want to, you can call your senators and your representatives every single day. You can call them. It has a way of making you feel like and you don't have to scream and yell. I don't ever do that. I call them and say respectfully, I tell them who I am. This is what I would like you to pay attention to. Please, I'm one of your constituents, and I really would appreciate it if you would vote this way. And I tell them my reasons. And so, because if you don't, you feel like you're taking all this in every day, and then it's just not working for you. It doesn't feel good. So don't do that. Take action. So the first step to getting what you want is know what you want. Know what you want. You go to a restaurant, order what you want. And if you don't know what you want, she says, I'll come back when you're ready. You will not get what you want if you don't know what that is. And if it's not clear, if it's fuzzy, then you don't get what you want either. You have to be able to say, yes, I'm ready. I know what I want. Decide what you want. And if you don't know what you want, always go back and look at what you keep saying you don't like. I hate living in an apartment. When I said that, that told me that I wanted to buy a house. So clarity is the key to manifesting. So take a tweak, take a look at, like we did with Kathy. Kathy was saying, what she wanted, but we had to tweak that and say, I claim this kind of patient. I claim this kind of money. I claim this kind of work environment where I am treated like the fabulous professional I am. And you've got to look at, how do you want to be treated? How do you want to feel? Like I've said in the past, always start with the end in mind. What does it look, if you already had what you wanted in life, what does it look like? If it is the treasures of your life, what is the car you want to look like? Those are the easy things. But when you want to feel, what do you want to feel like every day? I want to feel positive. I want to feel powerful. I want to feel that I love my life. I want to feel energetic. I want to have energy every single day. I want to get up and I want to go for a walk, that 2-mile walk, and I want to meet fine people and fun people. And I want to, the other day, I decided to, instead of walking the usual way that I go, it's through this lovely green belt and I get to see lakes on either side. And I decided, well, wait a minute, I'd like to walk up to the store because I had a taste for avocado. And so instead of walking the regular way, I walked up to the store. And so it was a nice little change of pace, and it worked out very nicely. So what I'm saying to you is, clarity is the key. Get very clear on what you're doing in your life. Are you spending time making yourself happy? When I decided that I was watching a little too much news and was getting a little too angry, throwing things at the TV, should have been a hint that maybe I wasn't happy with what I was watching. I decided that I would watch different things, and I recorded a whole bunch of shows of that. What's that show that makes you laugh? Oh my gosh, I can't think of it, what it is. But anyway, it's a very funny show, and they show funny clips. And I recorded a whole bunch of those because what I do now is, if I feel like I'm getting angry or frustrated, I just watch one of those shows and start laughing, because laughing is like internal jogging. When you laugh, true belly laugh, When you truly belly laugh, it is like internal jogging. So when I got excited and was saying that, golly, I didn't know whether I needed something, I made that decision. I'm going to stop here for a second. I think someone wants to come into the thing. Hold on, let me see if that's true. Nope, it's not. Sorry. I don't know why that light comes on, and so all of a sudden I think that somebody wants to come in. All right, hold on. Let me come back. Okay. And so that's what you do. The key to manifesting is absolute clarity, and you have got to make some decisions about what you're doing and how you're doing it. So if you're watching too much negativity on the television or listening on the radio, then make a decision. If you're going to watch the news and it's upsetting to you, then make a decision that you'll watch another 30 minutes of belly laughing or something that is warm and cuddly, or a Hallmark movie that makes you feel kind and loving inside. So make some different choices about what you're bringing in through your visual, through your hearing, and through all of your senses. So make a decision and do it for 30 days. Use the 30 days to make that decision to go ahead and move on. Because we know your job is to know what you want, and God's job is to know how. And the resources will be sent to you. So believe you can have it is step 2. Beliefs are formed by experiences, form your thoughts, and bundled thoughts form your beliefs, and beliefs form your picture of reality. And then you gather evidence to support those beliefs. And so some of the experiences that you had in your life, some of them were fabulous. Some of them were not so fabulous. And you have got to make a decision. Are you going to continue to think and hold those beliefs that did not belong to you? Or are you going to really take a look at how that is going to help you? Because when you change your beliefs about health, I know in our family, a lot of people believe that I'm going to have diabetes or I'm going to have heart disease because it is in my family. It's genetic. I don't believe that anymore. I absolutely do not. I changed that belief. I flushed it out. I released it so down on my cellular level, I could understand that I had the ability to bring health into my body. I have the ability, I might have some weaknesses left over from other things, but I have the ability to change that and to transform myself and heal myself very much on a cellular level. So you have got to make some decisions. We know that the beliefs are the roots that you have. You cannot see them. So they're so much harder to get a hold of than what were your thoughts and words. But what words come out of your mouth and what thoughts go through your heads tell you what your beliefs are. So if you can't see your beliefs, listen to your words. Keep a running track of the words that you say. We know our sweet Michelle. We could tell she was having health problems. She had heart, and she was always taking heart pills. And her father died of heart disease. So her thoughts were, and her words and her feelings and it came out as her actions. And that was the fruit that the results were the fruit that she grew. The thoughts that she thought when my father died early, then she had feelings that could happen to her, and had maybe some fear. The words that dropped out of her mouth were, I'm a heart attack on a stick waiting to happen. And as soon as she could get a hold of that, we could then make a decision. Don't ever say that again. We flush that. And then she created the space and to create that vacuum, but then you have to replace it with more positive words. And the positive words were, Michelle is one of the sweetest, kindest people I know. And sweet people have strong hearts. And so she changed that. It was less than a month she was off of all heart medicine. So the results that you are experiencing come directly from the beliefs that you have. So that's why I always go back to the beliefs. If you do not like some of the results, let's say you love the results you're getting in your business area, but you don't like them in your personal area, in your relationships, you can use the same thing that you use to have a good business, you can use in your personal relationships. And that's what we're going to do in the next session. Like I've said, you use all your 5 sentences. When I thought money is evil, I used my 5 senses. The filters were, I learned it in Catholic school, actually, and I held on to that and generalized it to, not only did I generalize it that money is evil, then I generalized it to people that had a lot of money were evil. This is what we do. Then we gather a lot of evidence. We find people that believe the same thing we do. We listen to news channels that have the same beliefs that we do, and we don't branch out. We don't listen to other things. So we gather more and more information so we know it's true, and beliefs are learned. And they're a mixture of positive, negative, neutral. And the pattern that you develop, the pattern I developed was money is evil. That generalized to people that had money were evil. So I didn't like rich people. I judged them. I judged people that had money. I judged myself that I couldn't have a lot of money because then I'd become evil. And it was a vicious cycle. And so thoughts, words, and actions demonstrate your beliefs. So when money kept leaving me, money didn't come to me, then I had to look at what was I doing? And once I figured that out, then I could leave it, because beliefs are what you hold as certain truths, whether they are or not. That was not truth, but I thought it was. And as long as I thought it was and believed it was, money didn't come to me. And so you have to take a look at what you believe, because single strength is your prosperous thinking. Double strength is your prosperous thinking and speaking. And then triple threat is the energy strength of thinking, speaking, and actions. When you think positive thoughts about what you want, when you speak that you claim it and it comes to you, and you take actions to learn about it or take bite-sized pieces to get you where you want to go, you take 30-day increments, or if 30 days is too much, then bring it down to 5 days. And if 5 days is too much, bring it down to 1 day. Make a decision to do it for small increments till you can get some momentum going, and then you can keep it going. Because you decide your prosperity. Nobody but you decide your prosperity. The government doesn't decide it. The COVID doesn't decide it. And I'll tell you why. Because you and I both know that during this COVID crisis, I guarantee, there are going to be millionaires made. And there are already millionaires that have been made during this crisis, because they figured out different ways. Gina figured out that when her band wasn't being able to do the gigs that they were doing before, where they were going out to bars because the bars in Arizona have been closed, they made a decision. And the decision was to go to senior centers, pay them more, less work, only 2 hours instead of 4 hours, and a better class of people that really wanted them to be there and was joyous that they were making them so happy. So this might not have happened if we did not have this perfect storm of COVID-19 coming at us with all the other things. So it's very interesting. You decide your prosperity. You and you alone decide your prosperity. And you have to take action. You have to take action to learn. If you're not taking these lessons that we continued, and I say them, people say, but MGM, you've already said some of this over and over again. Listen to me. Spaced repetition. You've had years to learn the beliefs that you've had. And I've only had 10 weeks to keep saying it over and over and over again so that we get it. You must learn to take action. One of the things to really manifest in your life is to forgive. Forgive yourself. Forgive the other people that have hurt you, that have frustrated you, that you've been resentful to, and let it go. It just means to let go. Forgive just means to release and let go. When you release and let go, oh my gosh, you're so much lighter and you can go so much faster. Take inventory of those toxic beliefs. Create a vacuum, which is just a space. And once you create that space, fill it with what you want. And so have a vision of what you want. A vision is the big picture model. And so we've gone over this, the big picture model. When people are building a house, they always ask, could I see a model of this house, whether it be a model made out of the small things or a regular house that you can walk through, because then you can see where the walls are. You can see where the plugs are going to be. You can see how you want to decorate it. So the model helps you see. And what I ask you to do is know what you want. Know if you want a certain body, then get a picture of it, get a model of it, cut it out of a magazine so that you have a visual picture of what you want. That is the model of what you want, of the end result that you want to get to. Then the recipe is the quote, how to, the small bite-sized actions that you will take to create the big picture. If you want that body, and you want to look a certain way, then what's it going to take to get you to that? Is it going to take 30 days of learning how to eat different? 30 days of learning to move differently. You have to take the recipe, make the recipe to get to your model picture, and then focus your energy on that. Don't get scattered, shiny thing here, shiny thing there. Get focused. I'm going to focus 30 days on my body to bring it to health and to bring it to release any excess weight and send it off to the COVID patients that truly need it. Bless it before you send it and send it off to its highest good. And that's how you use that to create what you want. Fill that vacuum, take one small step at a time. Because looking at the whole thing is too massive. But when you break it down into bite-sized pieces, then it makes it so much easier. A friend of mine used to say, how do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time. So you have to take it into small bite-sized pieces, kind of like this money salad. The unconscious mind has the power to control all or most of your important life decisions. Become conscious. Become conscious. Decisions change your image of reality. If you don't like something you've been doing, make a conscientious decision you're going to change it. And so we all have something in our life. I've had my fair share of circumstances, and you do too. And so circumstance is just something that happens. It's just a line. And if you're below the line, then you spend your time blaming others, making excuses, and denying responsibility. You become a victim. And it is, you blame others all the time. And I didn't get what I wanted because he wouldn't give it to me, she wouldn't give it to me. And oh my gosh, I couldn't do it because COVID hit, and that's what happened. And I didn't have any responsibility in that because I couldn't change that. See, that's how we get. That is reasons why we can't have what we want, and we relive those failures. Every time you tell your story, every time you tell, and have you ever noticed when you talk to senior people that they tend to talk about their illnesses? And why is that? Because mostly they've had these wonderful, extraordinary lives, and they did so much. And then all of a sudden, they can't, those lives, they've quit their businesses. They've stopped being moms and dads because the children have grown, and now they have grandchildren. And sometimes they don't see them as often as they'd like. And things in life that they used to have to talk about and know about are gone. So then they sit in the daytime, especially seniors in senior living places. They sit and all they have to think about is their health. And somehow they were told that they would eventually fail and their bodies would fail. Well, I don't know if I'm going to believe that. But if you do, then you relive that and you hear it again and again and again. The more you tell about how sick you are, the more sick you get. And that's the point. So you have to move above the line and go to owner of your thoughts, accountable for your actions, responsible for your results. Owner of your thoughts, nobody can, they can tell you how to think. They can say, you will think this way, but they don't know what you're thinking in your head. And so you own your thoughts. If you don't like the thoughts you're having, change them and refill it with something better and more effective for you. Be accountable for your actions. Don't blame other people, because then you have to go around changing them, and Lord have mercy, they will not change. And then your life stays the same. And then responsible for your results. Know that your results are there for you. So be above the line and then start reliving your successes. What did you do? How did you have 56 years of marriage? How do you do that? Relive the successes that got you there, and to the harmonious part of getting there for 56 years. That took some work at one point, and takes a constant being able to look for the good in the other person. So relive those successes. Relive that success you had at your work. Relive that success you had in a relationship. Relive that success you had with good health, because we all had good health at one time. Relive that wonderful sense of something that made you happy. Every time I ride in my red T-Bird, it just gives me such a feeling of joy. I put that hood down. I don't care if it's 113 degrees out or if it's 20 degrees out. I love to put that top down and just feel my hair blowing in the wind. I love to relive that. I think about it. I go out in the garage and talk to my car. I know that I am not proud of it, I'll tell you that. But it's just that I really never thought about having an object that made me so happy. And yet I I just love this car, and I love it because it just brings me joy. So I relive that success of owning that car and seeing myself driving in that car. And so, it just makes me happy. So relive those successes, those business times. That I just had a Zoom that went very well. That was one of my speeches, and I'm going to relive that because I was fearful of doing Zoom, and now I can see that it can be very beneficial and I can do it. So I'm going to claim a new business. And so you can either have sour results or you can have sweet results. And who is in charge of those? You are. So get out of bed, blaming, making excuses, and denying. Grab an oar, owner of your thoughts, accountable for your actions, and responsible for your results, and row yourself prosperous. And so step on up, take action, and go above the line so that you're a victor of your life. And you decide your prosperity. A confused mind does nothing. That's why clarity is absolutely paramount to manifesting what you want. Because when you don't know what you want, a confused mind does nothing. So take action that's in alignment with your harmony, and better, stronger together. Take one step at a time. The results you are experiencing are the results you created. And so give thanks and praise before it arrives on the physical plane. Giving thanks is probably the best way to attract prosperity to you, because you're already believing that it's been claimed. Give thanks. God's my partner. The universe says you are abundant and you handle abundance well. Therefore, here's some more of it. So when you handle prosperity well, you get more of it. We've all had something in our life that's not what happens to you. It's what you do with what happens to you that makes the difference. Thank you, God, for all of my experiences. They have made me who I am today. And so give thanks. Gratitude vibrates very high. Science tells us higher frequency results from vibrational levels increasing. And so when you're grateful for the small pleasures, your vibrational levels increase because you want to match the frequency of what you want. Your outlook changes and opportunities open up. Pay attention. Opportunities open up when you are thankful. So gratitude opens the doors to abundance and prosperity. We want to match that prosperity that we want, because all things are possible with God. So you have to watch your words are one strength. Your thoughts are two strengths, and your actions are triple strength, and it becomes what you want. So savor your precious most moments, because your thoughts, the think, the words you speak become the house you live in, and the actions you take begin to give you and manifest what you want in your life. Where you place your attention, the universe hears as your intention. Where you place your attention, the universe hears as your intention. So if you're focusing your intention on being angry and being resentful and being hurt and being frustrated all the time by what you see on the television every day, then the universe hears that as your intention and sends you more of it. Let me repeat that. If you focus on your frustration and your anger and your resentment, then you get more of it. It's okay to show that you have anger. Use that anger to take action. Call your senators, call your representatives, call the people that you know are in the power positions, and let them know. So then you're not spending all your time just being resentful and mulling over it and getting angry again. So use that anger to create. But if you don't, you're going to get more and more. When people get sick, like I said, for seniors, they sometimes focus on their ailments, and they get more ailments because it gives them something to talk about. And I've often said, change the subject and tell people how they look, and change the subject for them so that they can get into a better place that will bring them more of what they want. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred or changed. Change negative energy into positive energy. Transfer that positive energy to everyone you come in contact with. Spend your days, if you even go out to the stores, because I think that lately all the stores I go to, the grocery store or to Walmart, because it's got a grocery store in it, but shower everyone you come in contact with. And when I go out for my walks in the morning, I meet so many people. I have to go out early, or else if I don't, I don't get my walking in because everybody stops me. But I think it's because I'm smiling so much. But shower them with abundant blessings. Spend your time dispensing and showering people with lovely blessings. And so it's that time for David and Goliath. It's story time. And so David and Goliath. And we always think of Goliath being the giant up against poor little David, the victim. And I don't see it that way, but that's how usually the story is told, about insurmountable odds and poor little David. And it's exactly the opposite. It is the exact opposite. So David and Goliath. So 3,000 years ago, the Philistines lived on the coastal plain, and they decided that they were going to conquer the Israelites on the highlands. So it was one of these things where it just looked like there was a fight, and it was a brewing. And so King Saul was the king of Israel, and he caught wind of the Philistines' invasions. So he sent out a call to action to confront the Philistines in the valley. And so all the good Israelites wanted to come together to fight. And David's father had 5 sons. And of these sons, he decided that he would send King Saul 4 of his sons, but he would keep David, the youngest, home to keep the sheep and tend the sheep, because he needed somebody to tend the sheep, and he needed a way to get, if something happened, he wanted to be able to get a message to his sons, because usually what happened is the family would send their sons to fight, and there had to be somebody that would be able to bring them food and maybe send the messages. And so that was David. So he was the youngest. And being the youngest of 5 sons, there was no way David was ever going to be the one that was going to inherit. Usually, and back in the day, the oldest son inherited mostly everything. But by the time you go through 3 of the 4 of their sons in front of you, David was going to get diddly squat. He wasn't going to get anything, because it would all be gone by the time he got around. So David was the lowest of the low in his family. And so back in the day, they would have these wars, and the wars would start, and so they would fight all day long, fight, and then at nighttime they would retreat to the caves, and so that's how they fought. It was interesting. So they had this fight, they'd come down, they'd fight all day long, then they'd go up and they'd rest and they'd eat, and they did the same thing all the time. So the Israelites were dug in on the north ridge, and the Philistines were dug in on the south ridge. Now get that, a ridge is up, right? One side would have to march down into the valley and up the other side to attack. And that would make them completely exposed, and it would create sure death for whoever did that. So it was deadlock. So once they decided they'd fight in the day and then stay at night, nobody wanted to do a false attack, because you'd have to go down into the valley and up the other side, and they'd surely see you. And so they were deadlocked. And so 3 weeks went by, and David's father didn't hear from the front. And he decides that David needs to go to the front and bring his other sons food and supplies and find out if the boys had any word to send back. How was the fighting going? So David, who attended these sheep all the time, he said, okay, Dad, I'll do that. Sure. I have nothing better to do. So King Saul was getting discouraged. And back in the day, they had this way to fight. Not only did they fight in the day and go up to their little caves at nighttime, but when it looked like there was a deadlock, which there was for the last 3 weeks, they came up with this thing called single combat. And single combat was that the challenge would be, and the tradition was, that they would send their 2 mightiest warriors, each from each side, and to end the deadlock. So the Israelites would send their best guy, and the Philistines would send their best guy. Well, you can imagine the Philistines had a giant called Goliath. And Goliath, it says, he was very tall and wore, Samuel says, a bronze armor weighted about 15 pounds. So he had on bronze armor chest plate. He had on a bronze helmet, which was also heavy. He had a bronze javelin and a sword, which were extremely heavy. Who dare to fight me? Choose one of your men to fight me. If he wins and kills me, we will be your slaves. But if I win and kill him, you will be our slaves. Goliath challenged the Israelites every morning and evening for 40 days. And no one of King Saul's men dared to challenge him. Well, and of course, they didn't have big old microphones back then. And so what would happen is they'd have to go from camp to campfire, and they'd huddle the men all together. And then everybody would be in a huddle. So who got to be in the huddle? The big guys were up front, and then anybody over to the side were in the back. So they would say, here's the challenge. And so here's David. And King Saul's promise was, King Saul promised anyone who will fight Goliath will get a house. We'll get horses, we'll get money, we'll have land, we'll pay no taxes for an entire lifetime, plus you'll get to marry his daughter, who bathes in flowers and smells like a rose. And so that was the challenge. And David, who was a little guy, kept jumping up and down saying, what's happening? What's happening? Tell me, because the guys up front could hear it, but he was always in the back, and so he couldn't hear it. And so finally, when he discovers, let me get this straight, you get a house, you get horses, money, a land, no taxes, and sex, he was thrilled, because we know that he knew he was going to get diddly squat. If he stayed in his family, he was never going to have any of these things. But if he fought Goliath, he would get a house, horses, money, land, no taxes, and sex. He was so excited. And so David, now listen to what happened. He gives no energy to the problem, Goliath. He didn't even look at Goliath. All he focused. Well, remember when I tell you direct your focus? All David could focus on was his dream life, that he would have a house, that he would have horses, he would have money, he would have land, he would have no taxes for his entire lifetime, and he would get to have sex, which he never thought he was going to ever have. And so David could only focus on his dream lifestyle. He didn't even give any attention to Goliath, whereas everybody else, all they could see was Goliath. Well, King Saul was leery because no one else came forward to fight Goliath except for David. And David, he said, okay. Look, you're smaller than anybody. And David, I'll let you do it, but you have to wear the armor. And David looks at him like he's lost his mind and says, no, I'm not comfortable with that, because he was used to being nimble. He was used to being able to move among his sheep and to fight and to do it in a nimble way. So he said, no, I won't do that, but I will fight Goliath, because he wanted all of those things: the house, the horses, money, no taxes, and sex. And so you've got to understand that if David had been in his earth suit, as we talk about, David went down to the river and he saw 5 smooth stones. And those stones were the symbol of the 5 senses. Everyone else, every other Israelite, could see Goliath, how gigantic he was. They could hear his booming voice. They could smell him probably, and they could, if they wanted to, gone up to touch him, but they used their 5 senses and they had instant fear. But David, he had that idea that pops in your head. And what do I always say? When an idea pops in your head, that's the Christ within. That's the Christ within giving you information. And use your best skills and equipment. So David was given the idea: don't use the body armor, don't use a sword, don't use a javelin. Those are so heavy, you don't know how to use those. But your sling, you're very good with the sling. You can flick a fly off a sheep's back with your sling and one of those 5 smooth stones. So he decided to go with his energy, light self, of the idea that popped in his head. He gave no attention to the problem, which was Goliath. He only focused on, he would get a house, he would get horses, he would get money, he would get land, he would get no taxes for the rest of his life, and he would get to have sex with this beautiful gal that smelled fabulous. And that's what he focused on. And so comes the day of the fight, and David could only think about his dream life: house, horses, money, land, no taxes, and sex. That's all he was thinking about. And all he was thinking about was how good he was with a sling. So he aimed back, he took that stone and put it in his sling, and in one foul shot, the impossible becomes possible with one shot, square between the eyes of Goliath, and Goliath went down. Boom. And once he was down, David went over, cut off his head, which was metaphysically symbolizing cutting off his problem. Now let's go back over this, because right now we're in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we have to look for the impossible to become possible. David took down Goliath with one shot, and then he cut off the head of his problem. How come David was able to win this? It was very, very simple. David didn't focus on the problem. David only focused on the dream life of house, horses, money, land, no taxes, and sex. And when he did, the underdog was not David. Every preacher and teacher that I know has always said the underdog was David. It was really Goliath from the beginning. Goliath was the underdog. Why? Because of his just the plain size of him. He was gigantic. He was acromegalia, was the son. He had a hormone disorder. He suffered probably from arthritis. He suffered probably from hypertension. He probably had heart disease, diabetes, and problems with his eyes. That's why he had to have a guide take him on to the valley so that he would be placed in the right place. And his whole system and his nervous system was off. And so David was nimble. He was young. He was small. He had precision. He had perfect vision. And so what happened is David's little hand-powered projectile, which was his sling, because he had practiced accurate targeting of protecting his sheep against wolves and against predators and against all kinds of things, his sling was as powerful as a handgun of today. And so he was able to take down Goliath in one foul shot. So you have got to see this story. David was the victor because he focused on where you want to go, not on what you fear. David never spent any moment of time fearing Goliath. He spent all his time absolutely claiming his dream lifestyle that he never would have had, because there was never a chance that he was ever going to have a house, horses, land, no taxes, and a beautiful wife. That was never going to happen for David. But because he focused on what he wanted, what he claimed, he knew he had the skills and believed that he could do it. This is our recipe for success in a nutshell. He then took action to figure out that idea that popped in his head was to claim what he was good at, not to pay attention to what he wasn't good at, not to do what other people wanted him to do, but to do what he knew how to do. And then he gave thanks to God before it arrived on the physical plane. And so, go David, go David, go David. So we say energy flows and with focus. David focused on his dream life, the house, horses, money, land, no taxes, and sex. That's what he wanted, and that's what he got. And so when you focus all your energy on vibrant health, harmonious relationships, purposeful purpose, how you're going to give your gifts and talents to the world, and then you focus on the dream lifestyle you want, that's what you bring into focus. And when you focus on that and you put your energy towards it, it cannot have anything but to bring it to pass. So money, success, love, health, inspiration, focus on success. And thoughts are like magnets. What you think about, you attract. We know that you have to let go of judgment, because as long as we have judgment and we don't take action and we just use judgment, we're going to get more of the same. So let go. What you put your energy on shows up in your life. You put your energy on talking about ill health, you bring in ill health. You focus on not having enough money, you bring in no money. You focus on all of these kinds of things, that's what you get. What you put your energy on shows up in your life. Energy sent out through thoughts is energy you get back. So you want to make sure that you're sending out positive thoughts that are going to track back to you what you want. If you want more love, you've got to send out more love. If you want more kindness, you've got to give out more kindness. You've got to give out what you want to come back to you. Speak to no one of what displeases you, not even yourself. I love that. And choose your feelings wisely, because you are attracting what you feel. And so I want to feel positive. I want to feel happy. I want to feel love. So I want to send that out. So know what you want, believe you can have it, take action, give thanks and praise before it arrives on the physical plane is how you can attract into your life all the prosperity that you want. And so you have to make that decision that vibrating at a higher level, you decide what you want. Once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. The universe, God, the I, the great I am, you send out what you want and the universe goes to action. It's like giving your order to the universe and it says, oh, thank God, you know what you want. Let me send it to you. And it starts sending you the resources. And some people don't pay attention to that. And they poo-poo those resources. Start collecting those resources. Decide what you want. And so have gratitude. Gratitude is the open door to abundance. When you become grateful for small pleasures, your outlook changes and opportunities seem to open up everywhere in your life. When you are grateful and you know what you want, opportunities open up. Prove me now herewith, I will open the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that there shall not be room enough to receive it. I just so love that. I will pour you out blessings that there shall not be room to receive it. So practice all of this in your abundance test kitchen. Vibrant health, harmonious relationships, pleasurable purpose, the ways you're going to give your gifts and talents to the world, and your dream lifestyles. These are all available to every single one of you. This is not just some people get it and other people don't. Everybody. The spiritual attributes are available to each and every one of you. All you have to do is bring it into your life. We've seen that you can manifest it in one area. If you can manifest it in one area, you can manifest it in all the areas of your life. So your job is to go out and cook up prosperity. And so that ends this 10-week session. And I look forward to seeing you in our next session.